Hey y'all, happy 4th of July! I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today I want to show you how we can paint some fireworks and enjoy the beauty safely. And we're going to paint in two different mediums. We're going to be using acrylic paint and watercolor. And whether you've painted before or just starting, these are really simple and easy ways to make some fireworks to celebrate the holiday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. We're going to do two different watercolor paintings. The one on the right is going to be using this fine liner resist pen, which is just a bottle of masking fluid. And what that's going to do is allow us to do our entire watercolor painting and at the end rub away the masking fluid and leave us with the white of the paper. I'm using this to make stars, but on the left we're going to be using just the white of a gel pen at the end to create those stars. Neither one is the right way to do it. It just depends on what materials you have and which one you like the look of. Now I'm going in and I'm putting down a blue. This is going to be the start of our night sky, but I'm also going to go in here and add in some brown, and that's going to help to deepen our blue and make it even darker than before. And so I'm going to use a mix of mixing it while it's wet, as well as letting it dry and doing layers in order to achieve the darkness that I want. It's really just personal preference on how dark do you want your sky to be, how much variation do you want, how do you like your sky to look. Now similarly on the right here, I'm going to just be putting in that wash of color and just building it up. You'll notice that I'm going straight over the masking fluid, and that's because with it there, I don't have to worry at all about leaving the white of the paper. I'm going to blow dry this real quick, that way we can continue building up our layers. You see that I'm leaving the middle a bit lighter than my outer edges, and that's because I'm imagining the firework lighting up the sky behind it. Now this is the point where you should add in your stars or wipe away your masking fluid, because we want the fireworks to be on top of those stars. I forgot to do that, and so I'll be doing it at the end, but if you want to really elevate your picture, you'll do that before you add in your fireworks. Now it's time to actually paint our fireworks. So I'm using a red watercolor paint on this brush, and I'm just loading it up and doing these nice little swoops. I'm making them curved so that it feels like it's rounded and shooting up and around. And we're going to do some little ones, some long ones, just variation, because that's going to help it feel more natural and more real. I'm going to also add in another color. It wasn't quite as different as I liked, so I went in later and added a more orangey red. Then we're just going to repeat this for however many fireworks you want to make in whatever colors you want to make. I'm doing a red, a yellow, and a blue one. And I'm just adding in slightly different colors. And again, that's going to help with some dimension and just variation in the colors. To add to our fireworks, I'm going to make the shooting lines, so where it shoots up into the sky, and that's just going to be a very faint, thin line of color, just leading to help show direction and to just really add that something else. Then I'm just repeating the same technique on the left-hand side. I'm going to use the same three colors, red, yellow, and blue. Obviously, it's not going to be identical, but no two paintings are ever going to be. Now I'm going to go in with a white gel pen on both pieces, and I'm going to almost copy some of those same strokes that I used for the firework. This is going to add some of that glow of light into these fireworks without us trying to stress about keeping the white of the paper. Alternatively, you could also use the masking fluid to keep those lines or just keep the white of the paper, but this is definitely what I found to be the easiest way to add it back in. And then I'm going to come in and on the left side, we're going to add in those stars. So to do that, I'm just going to make these little dots all over. There's not a correct amount of dots to have, it's just how you feel about it. Then we're going in and rubbing away that masking fluid to reveal the white of the paper. And we are all done. These are our finished watercolor fireworks. Now it's time to move on to our acrylic piece. Starting with a blank canvas, and once again we're going to start with that sky because that's the very back of the painting. I am going to mix white, blue, and some red for some color variation in the sky because I enjoy it. If you're trying to paint a more realistic sky, you are not going to see as much color variation because you have to get really far back to see so many different colors. I'm putting the red in the corner because that's going to help give us a very dark purple, and so I'm leaving that center a little bit lighter, just like I did in the watercolor painting. I definitely recommend using a bigger brush than the one I had or a smaller canvas, because using the little brush made it take much longer and harder to smooth out those colors and blend them nicely. I will also recommend, like I did with the watercolor, putting in your stars here before we start fireworks instead of at the end like I did. We're going to be using the same technique as we did with the watercolor, where we are just making these little strokes, some thin, some long, a bit thicker, just variation because that's going to help it feel natural. I am using some different colors, adding in that orange, again, variation just to help it pop. It can be really easy to stress over each little line and wanting each one to look perfect, but that's not how this works. The fireworks are always crazy and that's what makes them so much fun. And in acrylic paint, you can just paint over it if you don't like it. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to make those little lines, and I'm doing this in a much lighter color, so I mixed for this one yellow and white. I'm making more strokes. This is going to be the equivalent of our white gel pen. And I'm going to put extra there in the middle because I'm imagining that that's where it's burst out from. So it's going to be lighter there. And again, this is just going to help round it out and give us more dimension to our fireworks. Now we're going to make the stars, and I'm going to do that by mixing some white acrylic paint with a little bit of water. And I initially was just hitting the brush against my hand, but it wasn't working, so I'm rubbing my finger against the bristles, and that's going to splatter little bits of that white paint out, and that's going to make our stars. Again, I recommend doing this before you put the fireworks down for that dimension. Really, all in all, it does not matter that much. And with that, our painting is all done, and we now have our acrylic fireworks. Lastly, for this video, I will be doing a time-lapse of a drawing. It's of a bald eagle with some fireworks in the background. Unfortunately, my camera did not record everything, but here's what I have. So I start by roughly sketching out that eagle. This sketch is by no means perfect. I'm simply using it as a base reference on size and shape. And that size and shape is going to change in some places dramatically by the time we get to the end of this piece. Now, this idea of a painting of fireworks and a bald eagle is very cliche and almost overdone, but it's the 4th of July, and not only that, it is our 250th anniversary of being a country, and so we're gonna do the cliche thing. This time-lapse is not gonna have me talking a whole lot, but I will pop in every now and then just to say something that I found interesting, or a little tip, or just a little tidbit of information that I thought you'd enjoy. Now as I start putting on the paint for the background, you're going to notice that I overlay my sketch a little bit. So I will lose some of those lines, but it will help me be able to blend the figure into the background really well, and I can always bring back out that sketch. I'm going to use the exact same technique for this firework as I did for the other examples, but I'm making this a multicolored firework, and so I'm going to be using different colors. It's going to be blues and pinks and oranges, yellows, all these different colors just to help make it even more fun and exciting. Now I'm going for a different style of firework on this one. I want it to be more condensed of an explosion. That's why I put that initial color behind it, because I really want to make it glow. Then with the fireworks in the sky mostly done, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the actual bald eagle. And I'm just roughly placing down some color to differentiate the shapes as well as different areas of the color, so I know where the neck of the bald eagle is going to end and where that dark brown is going to begin. This will be shifting as I paint and I see the different shapes change, but this is just to get the general idea down. And the great thing about acrylic paint is that you can continue to paint over a portion until you're happy with it, and you don't need to be afraid about putting down paint. But this can mean that you will overthink it and paint over the same section 30 times and still not be happy with it. So make sure that you don't get trapped in the cycle of it has to be perfect. Now you'll notice that I'm not just using pure white while painting the white of the bald eagle, and that's because I need to capture the shadows of the white, and very few things are actually pure white. You'll hear some artists say to never use pure white in your painting, and I don't know that that's entirely true. There are times and spaces for it. Just be aware that you need other colors in there to make it pop and to make it look real. I struggled a lot with the feathers for the bald eagle, getting them to look the way that I wanted, so I end up painting and repainting them 2 or 3 times, just as I work to get it the way that I want. You can see I got very into painting every little feather, which in my head I knew is not what you want to do, because it's very easy to get so caught up in details like that you lose the overall feeling of the piece. So even though I spend all this time trying to map out and paint each individual little feather with their own shadows and highlights, I end up painting over that entirely and starting with just broad general shapes and getting the idea of the feathers rather than painting each specific one. This is where I decide that it's not working and I don't like the way the feathers are going. So I'm mixing brown, blue, and a little bit of black to create a very dark color. And this is going to be the darkest dark of my feathers. And what I'm going to do is then build up, going lighter and lighter and lighter. Now I'm going to go in and fix that firework that we had covered up by messing with the shape of that beak. And I'm not going to worry too much about it. All I'm going to do is take some of those same colors and just stripe it over a little bit. And that's going to help fix that up and make it look more cohesive. Then to finish up our eagle, I'm going to just wash some white over that head. I felt like I had gotten too many colors in and just needed to brighten it, so I mixed a little bit of water with white paint. Then to finish up our painting, I'm going to mess with the sky a little bit more. I'm going to add in some little clouds by doing kind of a light blue and blending that out. I don't want them to be too much of a focus, but I'd like them to be there in the background. With all of that done, the painting is finally finished. I had a great time getting to practice my feathers and getting to just enjoy painting such a beautiful piece. I hope you enjoyed getting to learn how to make the fireworks and getting to see them put in a finished painting. That is going to be all for this video, so I hope you all enjoy and let me know what you're doing for 4th of July.